my name is Marie Grace, and I'm 61 years old, and I'm from Michigan, which is in the United States. I have had long COVIDs for over 50 years, and I found Miguel after getting COVID the third time in November. And after watching videos for the whole weekend, I decided to join the Academy. I gave one more program, Hope, that would help me to live my best life. I was probably 10 or 11 when I first started to notice a lot of the symptoms starting, like my legs not working, a lot of numbness, digestive issues, memory issues, already having problems with sleeping, anxiety and depression. Those were some of my early symptoms as a young child. And then going into my teenage years when I tried to do sports, I would do them, but realized my body would not. I had like this exercise resistance. I was not able to use my legs a lot for, I like to be in the gym and ran track and stuff, but my legs were one of my biggest challenges. Gradually, I got into a really bad relationship to where I had to go out and start 2 businesses to raise my kids. And that was a lawn service and a cleaning service. So it was very intense. It was every day. It was all day. And it turned out to be a very tough situation. So in the process of running these businesses, I started to get even more sick. I mean, I had symptoms throughout the whole time, but all of a sudden my body started to shut down. My left side of my body went. I was intolerant to heat and cold. Vision was going. All of a sudden my body just was not working anymore. And so that started me down the journey to going to doctors even more than what I was already doing. And initially I got diagnosed with MS. And so that was 25 years ago, multiple sclerosis. So I lived 25 years with MS and the treatments that went along with it, and 20 more other diagnoses and 20 more other doctors. As of last year, they took the diagnosis of MS off, multiple sclerosis off, and I had all these symptoms still, but I'm thinking, okay, now I don't have MS, so what do I do with what I'm going through? So for the last year, I jumped around from program to program, supplements, diets, all different things. And I wasn't finding any results. I had COVID twice in 2023. So the first time I got it, it had set me back quite a bit. My first initial crash, I want to say, is when I got diagnosed with MS. So after I got the diagnosis of MS taken off, I was basically stuck with all these symptoms and not knowing what is still wrong with me, not knowing the label all my life was CFS. And then I got COVID again, and it didn't respond well. I was on a trip. I was traveling for the first time, up for 3 days. A person brought COVID into the retreat. I was extremely sick. I had to find my way back home, and I did not respond well. I was very, very sick with COVID, turned into long COVID. The weekend after I got home from my trip, I was so sick, and I started to look up long COVID. The first person I found was you. The first video was with your friend. And I felt like I found the right person. I didn't have to search anymore. It was just a really quick search. For 2 days, I went through all of your videos and just binged them, and then decided at the beginning of November of 2023 to join the Academy. I figured the Academy was good for me. What I needed was support. I didn't have support in my life, and the Academy offered me tremendous amount of love and support. The funny thing is that the first handful, I was already going to a gastroenterologist because I was having major digestive issues. And so that was one of them. And for anxiety and depression was possibly another one. So those were the first. There wasn't thoughts of like neurology or anything back then. It was more like ear, nose, and throat doctors, just all the childhood kind of doctors, trying to figure out what was wrong with you. Why am I having severe constipation? Why am I having such severe stomach aches? Why can't I eat certain foods? the anxiety and the depression. That's a tricky one when you're younger because they don't for sure want to believe you. And then when they offer you help, you're not sure if you want to get help or not because of stigma of when you're so young. So that was my journey. And then after a while, a lot of it, honestly, I just hid because nobody really believed me. Nobody gave me any kind of like answers or time or attention. I kind of stuffed the depression and the anxiety. I just dealt with what I thought was normal issues in my body that I didn't understand. Vision issues too was another one. I started wearing glasses early, but I also had vision issues at a young age. So yes, they naturally took me to the eye doctors, but I had double vision and blurry vision and things like that at a young age as well. You know what? There must have been something in me because there was times I wanted to give up, and I'm not going to lie, I wanted to give up, and I didn't succeed, but I just kept fighting, and I felt like I was resilient even in my mess, and I was a fighter. And you start hearing those words, you're a fighter, you're a survivor, you're this and that. So you want to kind of prove it to everybody, like you're not going to basically take your life because somebody thinks you're a survivor and you're a fighter and you're resilient. So there's something in me, deep down inside of me, that I just never quit. No matter how many times I was brought down to my knees, housebound, bedbound, alone, broke, no matter what was going on around me, there was a fighter in me. I had to raise my kids. I needed to have finances. So no matter how sick I was, no matter how much was wrong with me, I just kept fighting. I just felt like there was times on my job I would be sleeping on the side of the road or on a person's couch just so I could get back up and get to finish the job I was doing. I can't explain it, but I just know that there's just this inner fighter inside of me ever since I was little, all through my life. All the chaos that's going on around me just kept me like going and going.
I love
And I
that.
guess maybe I thought somewhere, if I just Googled enough, if I just tried enough, if I did enough, that there would be something out there for me. And to tell you the truth, right before you, I told myself, I am not doing one more program. I am not paying for anything else. I'm getting off all my meds, all my supplements. But when I went to my trip and I came home and I had racked with these symptoms, I knew it was long COVID. I thought, okay, I'll look up long COVID on YouTube. And I gave you one more shot. You were my final shot. And my first and final shot to now I'm feeling like I'm just living life. I never lived life before. I am living life now. I do have some symptoms. I'm not in an AP, but I'm living life completely to the fullest. Well, for me, going through the first 7 days first, the modules, and getting that down and seeing that that was actually already working. So the first week, I was living actually pretty normal the first week in my normal world. I call it normal. And then getting on the calls and in school to where people are supporting you, they're sharing their wins, they're supporting you when you're having your bad days and you feel like you do want to just quit or give up. Just the love and the support, because I didn't have support for many, many, many years. And to be in the academy where everybody allows you to be vulnerable and transparent and to be yourself and just love on you when you're having a tough day and support you and encourage you on your days you're having wins. And it was the love and the support and the encouragement that really helped me to propel forward because of not having support before. And so I started putting wins out almost immediately and getting feedback from other people and the encouragement. And like I knew I was doing the right thing, like I was in the right place. And I was really emotional when I first started. So that was accepted to let all that has built up out to the academy and on the calls. But for me, I would say support. on the calls and support in school was so pivotal for my recovery.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
believing in me, people believing in me, knowing that I was going to get well, that I could get well, and that I dropped everything. And people couldn't believe it. I dropped everything. I did trauma therapy intensely before I met you. And then afterwards, I dropped everything. And they're like, oh, you're not going to do this. This is, and I'm like, I'm only doing what Miguel has taught and keep it simple.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, well, I'm going to be brutally honest. After living with MS and thinking you're relapsing every time, now knowing it was an AP, you prepared for relapses. You did everything you could, but I didn't have the tools to how to handle them. But I had so many relapses throughout all those years that when it came time to knowing I was going to have APs and they're to be celebrated, I did not fear because I had already gone through so many.
Yeah.
I did not fear. I was listening to what could I do, a podcast or light music, whatever I could do. I didn't fear. I just knew to wait it out, not to freak out. And I will be honest, I didn't fear. I know a lot of people do fear and they relive their symptoms, they relive their stories. I chose not to. I chose to stay very present and do this very intentionally, very much on purpose, is to just sit with it, relax. What can I do? Not what should I do? What does my body need? And just the first big relapse or the first big AP I had, everybody's congratulating me and I'm like cheering, yay, I have my first AP, and it was quite thick, but after 3 weeks they came out and I'm doing things normally already. I had already stepped it up a huge notch.
Mm-hmm.
And by Thanksgiving, I was starting to walk. I remember the Thanksgiving call we had. When you combine the calls, I went out afterwards and attempted a walk on the trails. And that was my first getting back in. I was still in the end of the AP. And then I started to get back into actual being on the trails and hiking. And I had another AP. And again, I wasn't frustrated. This one was quite colorful. It was a variety of old symptoms. It was fun.
Yeah.
And, it kind of throws you off a little bit, but you know what? You get your bearings, and the more you respond well to it. I came out of that one within 2 weeks, and I didn't fear coming out doing things again. As soon as I got out, I was back on the trails again. And New Year's Eve day, I went on my first major hike, which
Mm-hmm.
was 5 miles. And then every other day for 2 weeks, I had gotten up to 7.5 miles with small APs after each one, but responded really well. And now I can hike and I do not have APs afterwards. Well, this is exciting because I am 61 years old since October. I have had it for 50 years. So the symptoms started coming when I was around 10. So I've had symptoms, APs my whole life, not knowing exactly what was wrong. And many relapses, even treated for Lyme, 6 months of being treated for Lyme.
Wow.
It wasn't Lyme either. Over 20 different diagnoses. I am living my best life at 61 that I never thought I would have. I
Wow.
think I could live for like another 20, 30 years. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
feeling amazing. I feel vibrant. I feel like a thriver now. I have
Mm.
friends and I have community in my own space now, not just virtual. The
Yep.
last week or two, I'm making friends. It's really quite amazing to me. And it really was. And I don't know if me having it longer helped or not, because I had to be so resilient for so long
Yeah.
and raised my kids and work and moved several times in several relationships. And I survived everything I went through, and I won't go into anything I went through, but I survived it all. And
Yeah.
I figure if I can do all that, then this program to me personally seemed like a piece of cake.
Yeah.
And it worked right away. And so here I am.
Yeah.
Now I can hike and bike and kayak and work out these new cool the drum workouts at the gym. And yeah, I'm just excited. I have a first trip planned in May to go away with a friend. I was active, but there was always symptoms. There was always fatigue to follow it. There was symptoms to follow. When I did hike, I could never get to 6 or 7 or 8. I would have, as we know now, major APs. I
Yeah.
did do one 9-mile one, and then I was in deep trouble after the 9-mile. But
Yeah.
no, most of the time when I would live, and anytime I would live big, as we call it, or live large, I would always pay for it, not knowing what was going on. I would have hundreds of symptoms.
Yeah. Man.
And I had breaks of feeling good, but never feeling great.
Yeah.
I would get excited on a phone call, excited to see people, and that would set me back. Even insomnia. There would be so many different things just out of being excited, just wanting to try to live life. And I would always get disappointed because no matter what I was doing and no matter how much fun I was trying to have, I would end up in major APs,
Mm.
which
Yeah.
we thought were like MS relapses. So I never got this far, never got to live my life this joyfully and this much vibrancy in my whole life. I would say if it works for me, it could work for anybody out there. This first of all is a list of all of my symptoms, and you can't read it, but I'm just going all of my symptoms. And if I can get through 75 to 100 symptoms, 20 diagnoses, and they're all been taken off and I'm all cleared now, finally, the last one just came off, autoimmune thyroid came off.
Nice.
If I can do this after everything I've been through and everything I've tried, you can do it. I believe in you. I believed in myself. I believed in Miguel. I think if you want to give it a try, try it. Keep it simple. That's the main thing. Keep it simple. Join, get the support, the community, the calls. The support is everything. People that understand you, and nobody did. And I know that's why I have a speedy recovery, because I had people in my court that understood me, listened to me, validated me. And again, I use this word KISS. Keep it simple, sweetie. Keep it simple, sweetie. And do the brain training, swat things away, like do the simple stuff. It's not complicated. And I also say, get out of your head. Stop ruminating and stop thinking and stop Googling and stop trying things. For me personally, let everything go and start fresh. You can always pick up other things that you liked afterwards if you choose to, but I chose to stop everything and only do the program. And to see progress in the first week to 6 weeks to now 3 months, I highly encourage you to try it. No money back guarantee. If you don't like it after a month, you can cancel. But I have spent money on so many things, like Miguel has and everybody else, so much money. I could have been on many vacations, bought many houses, new cars and boats for everything I have spent money on, and time and energy. And this is just a fantastic family home to be a part of. If you want to get well, I can't say enough about it. I could talk about it forever, because I have never been this happy, this calm, this joyful in so long. I believe in it. I would tell myself to not take life so serious. It's all small stuff. Don't take myself serious. Don't take life serious. Don't let things build up. Talk to people as you go through stuff and as you go through your journey. If I would have not let all my life's experiences compound itself I think that would have been maybe have made a difference in my journey. But I will tell you, Miguel, that I believe now wholeheartedly that my journey was supposed to be the journey it was. And I don't look back with any harshness or anger, resentment, bitterness towards my past anymore. I grieved it. I went through that. And to have the life I have now, it doesn't benefit me at all to look
Mhm.
back. It really is stay present and move forward to what can I now say to my future self instead of what would I say to my past self, because my past self just strived and survived and was a victim and everything, and she survived all of that. So for me, it's stay present, from today on. That's
Yeah.
what I would say is don't look back. And if you need help, through a therapist or whatever, I say go for it when the time is right, because that stuff will creep up when the symptoms come. I did so much work before I found you that I don't want to discourage people to think that I did everything and I got here and all of a sudden I got well. It's not that. It was what you said in your program that actually piggybacked on all the work that I had done. I agree with you, is that I wouldn't change a thing at this point. In the thick of it, I would have loved to have
Yeah.
changed things. But at this point, no. I learned so much about myself on this journey and how strong I really am, how resilient I am, and that I wouldn't be the person I am sitting here right now either if it wasn't for everything I've gone through and then everything I have come into with you.
Mm.
It's kind of like the caterpillar and the butterfly. I was in the
Yeah.
cocoon forever, and I just feel
Yes.
like now I just busted out of the cocoon and now I'm the butterfly and I'm ready to fly. I like to bike ride. I like to kayak. Pretty much anything nature is my thing. I don't need to move. I have my home, so I'm good in my home. But it's anything nature is in exercising. Family, I can do more with my family now. My son wants to go do Angel's Landing in Utah next year, which is an epic hike,
Yep.
and I will be 62 when I go and do that. I'm
Excellent.
pretty excited
Is that in
about
one
that.
day, 62?
Well,
Or you can
I'm
split it up?
62 doing it. It's the
Oh, yeah,
hike
yeah,
up the side of, when
yeah.
you look up, the, Angel's Landing, you're hanging onto a chain on the side of a
Yeah.
cliff and hiking straight up. Mostly it's all nature things, and then I will decide, do I wanna actually get on a plane and venture out even more? But, like, having more fun with my family now and my grandchild,
Yeah.
and just I have so much peace just being me now, which is amazing. Just the birds. Notice I have so much gratitude and so much appreciation for all the small things. When you're not all jarred up and nervous and anxious and stuff, you appreciate
Yeah.
all the little things. So I might even do some water skiing again or
Oh,
parasailing. There's some things that hot air balloon. These are some things that are on my bucket list that
oh, that is epic.
I was afraid. So
Yeah.
now I'm not afraid. So it's let's do it.
Wow. That's like true thriver right there, and
Yeah.
living your best life. Your second life is starting at 61,
Yep.
essentially.
Yeah.
So,
And for people too, I gotta say that notice the transformation in me are like, gosh, she looks different. What's different about her? They can't quite figure it out. It's just that I'm a calmer, responding well,
mhm,
happy person with
mhm.
vitality.
Yeah.
61-year-old with no health issues and have vitality. That's what people are seeing. People are seeing my confidence. They're seeing my outgoingness. A lot of times we think we were introverts. I'm
Mhm.
finding I'm very much not. I have a bigger personality than I thought, so I'm pretty excited about just being myself. I do still deal with a little bit of anxiety, but I know that's the nervous system and I know that will get better.
Yeah.
My symptoms are minimal, and it's funny when they come, they go, but no diagnosis. I actually had
That's
a
awesome.
telehealth yesterday just to check in, and I have no diagnosis right now. I had written down, I had 25 diagnoses, 20 doctors, 20 supplements, and over 20 medications. Some of them were, I had hypothyroidism and hyperthyroidism, both. They flip back and forth. I did have the Epstein-Barr, which was severe. I had lupus, rheumatoid arthritis. I was like dealing with like 3 different autoimmunes at the same time. It was ridiculous. Yeah. I mean, there's so many more. And then the mental health in general, digestive issues. Oh, they told me I had celiac. Of course, then the hypoglycemia, which we now know that's part of the nervous system, but I dealt with that for years. I think every organ had a connection to some doctor. This was a year ago, believe it or not. I was 102 pounds and my body was literally shutting down a year ago. So this is why I was struggling. After they took MS off of me, I'm thinking, what do I do with all this? I have my body shutting down. My organs are shutting down. I'm 102 pounds. I'm frail. I'm falling apart. I have all these symptoms. I can't eat anything. And gradually throughout the year, and then specifically finding you, the weight is up. I've got muscle tone. I mean, it's crazy how fast things happen too.
Yeah.
Going to the gym or just hiking, I got the muscle tone and the stamina and stuff back. I mean, there was just low blood pressure. I had tachycardia, arrhythmia. I was on beta blocker. I was, like you said, if you can pick an organ and the skin and the muscles, I had issues with all of them. Honestly, the videos would have worked for anybody that doesn't actually need the support. If you're very supported and you have people you can go to and you have a support system, then maybe not you need it. But I will tell you that if you do not have support and you feel like you're doing this alone and you feel hopeless and there's no chance of you getting well, then to get into the academy, to get that support that you need, for people to love on you and to validate you, to support you. And it becomes another family. I mean, I'm happy, but I'm sad that I'm leaving. But when you're my body, my mind, my spirit, everything just knows that I was just like ready to fly. There was like a week or two, I got to say that's where I knew it was time for me to go, but I was very nervous. I wasn't sure, should I or shouldn't I? And then when I started to join a place of community, then I knew for sure I had a place to go. I had a place to talk, a place to work out, a place to hang out with people. And then I feel supported in making friends. So then I was like, that was another confirmation. I can go. I'm not being thrown out with the bathwater.
Exactly.
I'm transitioning. All the people I'm meeting right now they're meeting me. They're meeting Marie Grace 2.0, healthy, outgoing, thriving, without me having to say everything I've been through in my whole life. When the time or the opportunity comes up and it's appropriate, I will share. But I don't need to go and share to all my new friends and community that I'm meeting, because they're going to look at me like I have 4 heads. So when the opportunity comes up to certain people, I will be happy to share what I have been through and how I came through it. And I got to say too, is being active in the community and not caring what other people think, is put your wins out every single day. You've got to do, you can't just read this. You have to do the work. You have to implement it. That's the thing. Interact with thrivers, put your wins out there, always put your wins out, find a win. And when I started to see these small wins and they became big wins, and then wins were every day, and, just share so people validate you. So maybe you didn't have validation before, but coming in here and getting validation and getting the support. For me too, I still can't say it enough, is to drop all the labels, because that's fear-based, if you can, and don't keep looking back. Grieve the past, get in the present, and then work on this program. Don't keep looking back and rehearsing your story. It's one thing I did not do. I did not rehearse my story when I came in. I could have given you 50 years of my woes. I did not, and I didn't give it to everybody else unless it came up in school, going back and forth. Is to stay present, use the tools, utilize school, utilize the calls, and block out everybody and anybody else on Instagram and YouTube and Facebook. I had to stop anything that wants to try to come in and influence me.
Mm-hmm.
And
'Cause
not
they
explain to them why I don't want to do your program or, take your supplements or, I'm on my own path now. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. And I'm looking forward to a future time with you as well. So thank you again for everything. I do appreciate it so much.